Did you know about that world where people buy terrifying things like hitmen, weapons, and many more illegal items?
It's all about drugs, illegal IDs, even assassination for hire. Yeah, the dark net is mostly about the bad guys.
You must know about this world. Today we're going to talk about a world where people communicate, but nobody really knows each other.
Please, leave us alone! Get out of there right now!
You have an identity here, but the moment you step into that place, nobody will recognize you. It might sound incredibly strange, right? But that's the truth, and the name of that world is the dark web.
I really think you should stop.
Oh, God.
Have you ever heard about the dark web? Can you imagine just how dark the dark web can be? If you've heard about it, you might have also come across creepy and horror stories related to it. But are those stories true or just rumors? If you haven't heard any stories, let me tell you a few intriguing ones that sparked a lot of curiosity in my mind related to the dark web. Listen further, and I can confidently say that these will pique your curiosity as well. Number 1. Human experiments. There are stories circulating that within the dark web, there existed a group of websites where a team of doctors conducted experiments on humans. These experiments included practices like starvation, vivisection, dissecting living organisms to study internal organs, and force transfusion, injecting various chemicals, such as bleach, into the body for testing. Their objective was to prove that not all humans are equal. Some are superior to others. They aimed to demonstrate how long a person could survive in different, inhumane conditions. These experiments were supposedly conducted around 2011 and were eventually shut down. Homeless individuals, those without citizenship, or those who were vulnerable often fell victim to these experiments. All this information was kept confidential on sites within the dark web. Number 2. Red rooms. This story is also quite infamous. Red rooms, where people willingly engage in acts requested by viewers, even if they are extremely disturbing. Viewers are willing to pay an unlimited amount of money, usually in cryptocurrency, to witness these acts. On these websites, users could watch live streams of people being tortured and even murdered. In the same sequence, in 2015, a person, or rather a monster, named Peter Scully was apprehended. He was responsible for distributing a video named Daisy's Destruction, where, according to sources, he propagated vile content such as child abuse and child pornography. He even started his own website in the dark web called No Limits Fun, NLF, where he sold such explicit content. While his customer base may not have been large, it's said that each video was sold for around $10,000. Naturally, only a wealthy and sadistic individual, akin to Christian Grey from 50 Shades of Grey, could afford such videos. Some believe that the story of Red Rooms is nothing more than a fabricated scary tale, while many are convinced that these are not just urban legends but actual occurrences. They claim to have seen such websites with the assertion that these events are true. It's believed that the term Red Room gained popularity after Japanese animation, where a pop-up ad would appear on people's screens asking, "Do you like red rooms?" If someone attempted to close it, a separate window would open, displaying a page filled with many names. It's said that these names belong to individuals who had entered the Red Room and met their demise. The dark web harbors numerous horrifying elements that can't be simply dismissed. However, providing concrete evidence for them is extremely challenging. Number 3. Hitman Hiring. This implies hiring a hitman to carry out a murder. On a website named Azerbaijani Eagles, you can give an order for a murder for $5,000. The Slayer's Hitmen site offers even more options, starting at $2,000 for assault. The cost for inflicting pain and causing death starts at $50,000. However, experts suggest that these might be more of scams than anything else. They could be saying this to keep the general public away. But in one recent case, an Illinois nurse was sentenced to 12 years in prison after being found guilty of sending $12,000 worth of Bitcoin through the Sicilian Hitmen International Network site. She had placed a contract to have her lover's wife killed through that site. So these were some stories, or rather glimpses, of the hidden truth of the dark web. Now, let's move forward and try to understand in technological terms what this dark web is and why it's not widely known among the general public. So, what is dark web? Before explaining that, let us tell you that the web can be categorized into 3 types. Number 1, the surface web, which is what we commonly and generally use, like Facebook, YouTube, Wikipedia, etc. It's readily accessible to the public. Number 2, the deep web. on the other hand, refers to the World Wide Web that can't be accessed through regular search engines. It remains encrypted and password protected. Speaking of encryption, you might think of WhatsApp. Yes, WhatsApp also falls within the realm of the deep web because random individuals can't access your personal chats or messages through search engines like Google or Bing. Similarly, your emails, electronic bank statements, electronic health records, and more fall within this category. Number 3. Dark web. This is a part of the World Wide Web that can only be accessed through specific software. Through this web, both users and website operators remain anonymous, making it nearly impossible to trace their identity and location. So, now that we have a basic understanding of what the dark web is, let's try to explore how it functions. So, how does this work? Before delving into this, we need to understand what an IP address is. You might have heard about IP addresses in relation to computers at some point. To put it in the simplest terms, an IP address is like your identity number for a computer. IP stands for Internet Protocol. It's a combination of characters that's unique for each device and helps in identifying it. In cases related to cybercrime, you might have seen in movies where the alleged criminal's IP address is traced to locate them. These IP addresses are essential in tracking the digital footprint of a device. They can reveal the device's location, the websites it has visited, and various other details. When you send someone an email or simply perform a search on Google, these IP addresses enable your information to reach the right destination. It's like when you send a letter from London, it goes to London and not Paris. Now, let's discuss how the dark web works in this context. It masks that IP address, which means that the letter won't go directly to London. It might first pass through New York, then California, Chicago, Los Angeles, and finally reach London. In this way, tracing the original IP address to know where the letter actually came from becomes very difficult because masked IP addresses form a network. Now, the question arises, who does the masking? As we mentioned earlier, there are certain software programs like Tor and Freenet that act as gateways to enter the dark web. Just like the example of the letter, now, if we explain this in technical terms, it involves passing web traffic through a series of different routers, also known as nodes, to reach the final destination. Among these, the most popular one is the Tor software. So, let's delve into the origins of Tor and why it was developed. The origin of Tor software. The Tor software was originally developed by the US Naval Research Laboratory in the mid-1990s as a tool for ensuring secure government communication. The original name of Tor was the Onion Routing Project. In 2002, the Tor project was released as an open-source software project. Today, the Tor project has evolved into a non-profit organization dedicated to enhancing privacy and freedom of expression for secure and anonymous internet usage. Why people use dark web. Now, let's talk about why people actually use the dark web. We'll discuss two aspects of this, the negative side and the positive side. Let's start with the negative aspects. Number 1, illegal drug trade. From opioids and stimulants to hallucinogens, everything is sold here. This is a common and popular marketplace for the sale and distribution of drugs. To carry out such activities, a very famous website was operated named Silk Road. Silk Road derived its name from the historical network of trade routes connecting Asia, Eastern Africa, and Europe. Although Silk Road is no longer operational for years, it has laid the foundation for other darknet markets. Today, when analyzing the development of other dark web markets, Silk Road remains an important case study. Silk Road was a digital black market platform that gained popularity for facilitating illicit money laundering activities and unlawful drug transactions using Bitcoin. It hosted the buying and selling of various products, with 70% of the trade revolving around drugs. Considered as one of the pioneering darknet markets, Silk Road was launched in 2011 and was eventually shut down by the FBI in 2013. It was founded by Ross William Ulbricht, who is currently serving a prison sentence for his involvement in Silk Road. Silk Road 2.0. In November 2013, about 5 weeks after the government shut down Silk Road and arrested Ulbricht, Silk Road 2.0 was launched. Silk Road 2.0 closely resembled the original Silk Road website in appearance and functionality. It was managed by Blake Benthall, who was arrested in 2014. Number 2. Murder for hire. Yes, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, people on the dark web hire individuals to perform tasks according to their orders by paying them. As an example, they upload images and videos to prove their legitimacy. However, no one really knows how much of this is genuine and how much is not. Recently, in 2022, authorities from Romania's Directorate for the Investigation of Organized Crime and Terrorism arrested 5 individuals who were operating a notorious hitman site on the web named Besa Mafia. Number 3. Weapons trafficking. Firearms, including homemade guns, can also be easily purchased from here. Although the arms trade is relatively smaller compared to other illicit online activities, its potential impact on international security is significant. Number 4. Child exploitation. There are websites present here that host child pornography, and there are also forums and chat rooms where illegal photos and videos are exchanged. Number 5. Hacking and cybercrime. This is also a popular site because stolen electronic data, such as credit card details and login credentials, are sold here. Number 6. Extremism and terrorism. Terrorist groups and extremists also use the dark web not only for spreading propaganda and communication, but also for fundraising and recruiting members. Number 7. Ransomware. I would like to explain a recent case that happened recently. A few days ago, due to a cyber attack on the UK Postal Service, shipping operations came to a halt worldwide. This was caused by a ransomware named Lockbit. Now, to explain ransomware in simple terms, imagine someone has kidnapped your valuable confidential files and is demanding a ransom from you in exchange for returning them. Here, the ransom is demanded in cryptocurrency, which is why it's also referred to as a crypto virus. Lockbit recruits its members through the dark web and carries out its operations. It's the world's first operation specifically designed to target Apple computers. It enters systems using phishing tactics, social engineering tools, or brute force, and then loads its encrypted codes into the system. It disables security programs to prevent data recovery. Then, it places an encryption lock on every system file that can only be unlocked with a code created by the hackers or kidnappers themselves. Now, the victim has no option but to contact the kidnapper. If you pay them, they'll provide you with the key to unlock the encryption. This was the complete story of Lockbit. So, these were some dark aspects of the dark web. Now, let's move on to learn about the bright side of the dark web. Number 1. It maintains anonymity. People who want to keep their identity hidden on the internet, for example, individuals who have been victims of cybercrimes and need to use the web but don't want to become targets of crime again, can use it to protect themselves from potential harassment. They can maintain their privacy and keep it protected. Number 2. The whistleblowers. It works very well in situations where there is no press freedom, or when you have sensitive information that you want to share but don't want to risk your life. In such cases, the dark web proves to be a valuable tool. Number 3. Banned books. Suppose you are a researcher working on a topic for which you can't easily find data available on the open web. In such a scenario, the dark web can be your ally. For instance, if you are seeking deeper insights into human trafficking, you might find a wealth of information here that you could never access through a general Google search. There are even books available for sale that have been banned worldwide. You can access all of this while remaining completely anonymous. Number 4. Law enforcement agencies. The US government has deployed numerous FBI agents on the dark web to monitor activities such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, and potential terrorist activities, among other illegal actions. So, that was the story of the dark web. Now tell me, should the dark web be used or not? If yes, for what purpose would you use it? If not, why would you choose not to use it? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And for more unique science and technology-related information, subscribe to our channel But You Know. We'll meet you in the next video with more intriguing stories of science that people are still unaware of.